Is it time for recess yet? I'm so glad you found time to join us here on the Childcare Director's Chair, where Erica Sacoccio shares her best practices that she's refined through her passion of directing childcare centers over the last 23 years. From parenting interaction, systems to save you time, money, and stress, to profitability. She shares it all from the Childcare Director's Chair.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Child Care Director's Chair. We have done a few episodes on different ways that you can implement incentive programs for your staff. In today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit more about creating flexible work environments and flexible work schedules for your team. I know that many of you are struggling with maintaining ratios and having enough qualified teachers in the classrooms. And so this might be one way that you can keep your teachers happy, really help support that harmonious work-life balance that everybody is, craving. And so let's get into it. So one thing that you might want to consider is implementing a rotating schedule that will allow your staff members to work different shifts on a weekly or a monthly basis. This way, everyone gets a chance to experience different hours and accommodating their personal needs. So, for example, let's say you have a staff member who opens all of the time. And maybe one day they don't feel like getting out of bed, so they call out because they want to sleep in, right? That would be understandable. So maybe offering shift rotations so that way the people who have to close every night, maybe they get out early a few days a week. And the folks who have to wake up at the crack of dawn, maybe they get to sleep in a couple days a week. And it also allows people to make appointments without calling out of work or asking for time off. So maybe if somebody typically works a day shift or an early shift, maybe you let them come in, 10 to 6 on a day so that they can make an appointment in the morning or vice versa. I do know that I have a few staff members who have children who are in some extracurricular activities, and they really love to see their children at dance or play baseball. And you know what? Who can blame them? So letting them have an early shift on that day makes sense so that they are able to have those commitments and not be rushing around. Tip number 2, I would say, is providing maybe a split shift. Now, offering an option of a split shift really does allow employees to have a break in the middle of the day. It also can be particularly beneficial for those who have personal commitments during certain hours. Now, my first few years, I worked in a before and after school program. So working a split shift was something that was just so common for us. And I'm sure many of you out there who have before and after school programs, this is very common. And so we did notice a dramatic difference in the number of callouts in the after-school program compared to our early learning centers. The school-age staff did not call out as frequently. They certainly had less requests for day off, especially the part-timers. So it really was because the middle of the day, they had all day to do other things they wanted to do. So maybe you could do that with your early learning staff. Now, I know you might be like, oh, Erica, that might be really hard to do because we need the staff and we need to keep ratios. So you're right. So let me roll into tip number 3. Maybe you can provide some part-time opportunities. Providing part-time opportunities for staff members who are not able to commit to a full work day of 8 or 9 hours. This will allow them to balance their lives while still contributing to the center's success. And a good example might be a part-timer might be somebody who would be perfect to come in from 9 to 2. So they are there. So maybe your morning shift people can come in the morning. They could take off for a few hours while your part-timer is there. And make sure you use the same part-timers in the same classrooms to the best of your ability so that there's that consistency and continuity of care for the children and that camaraderie and communication for the staff. So that's important to note too. You don't want just part-time people popping in and out of every class everywhere and all of that. So let's be a little strategic when we make these moves. Number 4, I think is a great idea, is job sharing Encourage employees to share their positions with a colleague, allowing them to divide the workload and responsibilities. This way, both individuals can enjoy a little bit more of a flexible schedule. And what I love about this option, and I do it myself, is that if somebody has to go out on an extended leave, and that happens, people have babies. I work with a lot of older staff who have aging parents who may, need to be out, or aging spouses. So it really does allow you to make sure that your center still runs effectively and efficiently while people have time off. So job sharing, cross training, absolutely one way to really relieve the tension and stress of only having one person who can do a job. Tip number 5, I would say, is remote work. Now, I know you're going to be like, well, how can we have remote work and still maintain ratios? Well, the answer is you probably can't, but you could probably explore the possibility of allowing certain administrative tasks to be completed remotely. This option can be especially helpful for staff members who have other family obligations or long commutes. Or if you live in New England, like I do, we have sometimes some unruly weather. So we do have some folks who have some opportunities to do some remote work. My niece, Jaleesa, who runs our HR department, some days she's able to do payroll from home. She's able to enter in parent letters and calendars from home through our ProCare app. So there are opportunities for people to do administrative tasks off-site. And so, again, cross-training some people to be able to do that. And then that gives you an opportunity to let some folks who maybe have to work from home a couple days without losing pay and without your administrative tasks getting piled up. Tip number 6, I'm going to say, is maybe offering flexible start or end times. Consider implementing flexible start and end times for your staff, and this will allow them to adjust their schedules to accommodate their personal commitments, such as dropping off or picking up their own children. So I do have a teacher who approached me about this pretty recently. Her children are going back to school pretty soon, and she wanted to be able to drop them off at school and then pick them up. And so she wanted to do that where she came in and then left, brought her kids to school, came back, spent a majority of the day with us, picked up her kids, brought them to her parents' house, and then came back to work and helped close for the night. So, again, if that works for her family and it makes her happy and it makes sure that we're covered and that, again, we don't have consistent call-outs, then that's a really great way to be a win-win for both the center and the staff. Now, one of the ones I really love, and we've really been kicking this around a lot, and I think a lot of businesses are doing this, they're going into what they would call a compressed work week. So offer the option for a compressed work week where employees can work longer hours on fewer days. This allows them to have additional days off, providing them more flexibility in their personal lives without, again, call-outs, without lack of income and pay. And, so that could really work for your program as well. And especially depending on the time that you open and close your center, that might be a real good solution. Number 8, I want to say, is you could put together a time off bank. Establish a time off bank system where staff members can accumulate extra hours and use them as needed. This way they can take time off for personal reasons without sacrificing their income. Number 9 is personal days. Implement a policy that allows staff members to take personal days when needed. This gives them the freedom to attend important events and to take care of personal matters without stress. Now, you can't do number 9 if you don't have step number 3, which is those part-time opportunities. So you see, you might have to implement a few of these different strategies to make sure you have coverage and to make sure your staff don't have to constantly call out. Because let's face it, if you work a 9 to 5 schedule or an 8 to 5 schedule, most doctor's appointments are during that period of time. So they either have to try to hurry up and rush on their lunch break, which, some centers it's a half hour or an hour, rush to the doctors during a lunch break and then get back on time, and that's very stressful. So it doesn't really work well for the teacher or the center. So put a few of these things together and talk with your team. Take a poll and see what works for who. And not everybody has to convert to one or the other. Maybe some people just like that set schedule and others might want to rotate. So, open communication, maintain an open line of communication with your staff, encourage them to express their needs and preferences, and by understanding their individual circumstances, you can better tailor the flexible schedule options to their specific situations. Implementing a flexible schedule in your childcare center not only benefits your dedicated staff, but also enhances the overall quality of care provided to the children. So I hope that you found 12 of these strategies, at least 3 or 4, that you can implement in your center. It will help you with that positive work environment that fosters work-life balance and ultimately leads to happier, more productive team. So that's it for today. Let me know in the comments on our Facebook page what ones you tried, what strategies you tried. Maybe there are some that I didn't mention that are working great for you. So please share with the community because that's why we're all here. We're all here to help and support each other. So with that, I will say, have a great day.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Childcare Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Childcare Director's Chair.